don't know what he got on. I don't know what he got on somebody, but bro, I really don't know how he's getting away with it. The major charges being dropped, bro. I don't know what he got on somebody. He gotta have something on somebody.
What go down with the Major fam today? It's Major, and we back with another one. Today we gonna be talking about the Diddy verdict and how he basically got away with it. He was found not guilty on three of the major charges they were trying to hit him with, and he got hit with two of the lesser charges, which really isn't gonna give him that much time, as it's gonna be talked about in the video. But he's not really gonna get as much time as we thought, and that's unfortunate, man. Especially for the victims. But I don't want to do too much talking. We're gonna get more into it in the video. With that being said and done, let's go ahead and get into it.
This is breaking news right off the press. Sean Combs found not guilty on the most serious charges in his federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial that's been going on for 6 weeks in New York. The jurors found him not guilty on the serious charge of racketeering, found him not guilty for sex trafficking as it relates to Cassie Ventura and the witness that testified as Jane. He was found guilty on the lesser charges as it relates to transportation to engage in prostitution. Those two charges carry a maximum prison time of up to 10 years. Now, given that he is a first-time offender, he could conceivably get 2 years. He could conceivably get no additional jail time. The judge will set a sentencing hearing. There will be reports done, recommendations made about how much jail time he should receive, and presumably in a couple of years, he will move on with his life. This is a huge victory for Sean Combs.
Nah, definitely, man. It is a huge victory for Diddy, man. Like, bro, what? Bro was supposed to get a whole bunch of time for racketeering. That was the major charge, the racketeering and the trafficking charges he was supposed to be getting hit with. Those are supposed to be the main ones that was supposed to be giving him a lot of time. And the fact that he was found not guilty on those, that shows what money can do. That shows you what money and power can do. And it's sad. It's sad to say, because, like, we see a lot of people in power and with money, they get away with a lot of things. And Diddy's going to be one of them now. He's going to go on with his life, probably live a beautiful life with his family and everything. Still has all the money and everything that he got from, the music and things. And, hey, who knows what else he was doing. But he still has all the money and all of that. He's going to go on with his life. But all the victims of this case and everything, Cassie and the woman who testified as Jane Doe, like, man, they gonna forever remember Diddy in a horrible way and forever be traumatized for the rest of their life. And that's the sad part about it. Like, and we can't really do nothing about it. We can't really do anything about it. And it's the fact that he might not even get that much time. He might not even get that much time. Like you just heard her say, he's a first-time offender. Literally, first-time offender, never had a record before this. So he might not get that much time. He's probably gonna get out, and so it's a very big win for Diddy, man. And it's sad, man, but hey, bro, what can you say? It's America, man. People with the power run it. But that's pretty much it. She kind of goes into her opinion about things. I just kind of wanted to let y'all know what his charges and everything was. She kind of articulated better than how I would. But let's go ahead and get into the TMZ video.
Today was a monumental loss for prosecutors in the Diddy case. I wish there were a bigger word than the word losers, because that's what they are. This case would never have been brought if the only issues were whether he transported a sex worker across state lines to have sex. There is
Facts.
No way they would have done it. I mean, you look...
Facts, because this was he was hit with some federal charges, bro. That racketeering and all of that. I believe those were federal charges, and so that's that's uh that's the United States. That's like the country of the United States coming to get you. And so they not gonna be spending that money if they think they don't got you and they not gonna make an example out of you. They thought they was gonna make an example out of Diddy, and unfortunately they was not able to make an example out of Diddy. They spent a lot of money just trying to get him because they thought they had the evidence. They thought everything was lined up to get him. That's why we seen all those people at his house. What bro talking about right now, and they spend a lot of time trying to just get him, stop him from leaving the country and everything just like that. And just for him to be acquitted of the major charges, bro, what? That's an embarrassing look for them. It don't make them look good at all.
At this case, and they had 70 Homeland Security agents
Facts.
at Diddy's homes in Miami and LA. And they spent a fortune putting this case together. And what did they get? A not guilty verdict on racketeering, a not guilty verdict on sex trafficking as it relates to Cassie, a not guilty verdict.
Oh, and another thing is about this case being expensive. They said this is the most expensive prostitution trial in American history. It's stated, I think it's stated by New York Times. Man, and that's crazy because they were supposed to make an example out of Diddy. They weren't able to make an example out of him. And bro, he's basically getting away with what he's doing because he's probably not gonna do that much time. He, like, from the videos that I've seen from the educated lawyers about this, like, he's probably not gonna do that much time, especially if they give him time served and everything like that. If his team's able to, fight and give him that time served, and he can get away with the time served basically, because he's been in since what, the beginning of the year. And if he only gets a few months, he only have a few more months to go. Well, not a few more months, but if he gets like a year and a half or so, he only have like a few more months to go. And so that's crazy, because that's what they saying. Like, they're saying he's not gonna get that much time, and he might get like 5 or even less years, which is crazy.
On sex trafficking as it relates to Jane. Those were the reasons why this case was brought. They said he was a racketeer. The jury said no. They said that he was Cassie and coercing Cassie and Jane and forcing them into these freak-offs. The jury didn't buy it. Now again, I wasn't in the courtroom, nor were you. I mean, you got to see the witnesses, see the evidence. And the jury not only was not buying it, but now that we look at it, remember, an hour into this case, an hour into deliberations, the jury came back to the judge and said one of the jurors, juror 25, was not following jury instructions. What really stunned me about that is that it's almost like he was the holdout and everybody else felt one way, he felt another way. And they did that within an hour. And he obviously came around, it seems. And this didn't seem a difficult decision for the jury. It seems like they were pretty much in agreement on the first straw vote. So did the prosecution prove its case? No. Yes, he was found guilty on the Mann Act, 2 counts. But again, this is an antiquated law. Let me just explain the Mann Act. That if Diddy had taken somebody from the San Fernando Valley, a sex worker, and then brought them over the hill to a hotel in Beverly Hills and paid them, well, that would be solicitation of prostitution. Guess what? It wouldn't even be a felony case. The DA wouldn't take a case like that.
Basically, he's saying is if Diddy would have kept it in the state, like he's showing how small the thing that Diddy is being charged with it actually is. So basically, he's saying if it was on a state level, right, it wouldn't even be that serious. Like they wouldn't even hit him with anything for real. That's basically what he's trying to say, because the whole reason why it's a felony charge is because he transported them across state lines, and as we know, prostitution is illegal here in the United States and everything. And he transported them across state lines. You're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. It's illegal. And so that's what made it a felony case, and that's what he's getting hit with. But if he would have did that within his state or wherever he was at the time, which is what he's explaining, it wouldn't have even been as big as it was right here.
It'd be a misdemeanor case
See?
that the city attorney might file. Generally, they don't. But if they do, it's 6 months, maximum a year in county jail, which they never give. And yet, we are now looking at a prosecution that got 2 convictions of putting a sex worker on an airplane and flying to where Diddy was. That's what this case ended up to be.
And what he just said, just flying, the prostitutes over state lines and everything, putting them on an airplane to do what they did to the Jane Doe lady and Cassie. That's all Diddy is being charged with. That's all he's being charged with, bro. That is so crazy to think about. Literally.
A huge, a monumental loss for prosecutors. And I gotta say that I wanna go back to the news conference the U.S. Attorney had, where the U.S. Attorney spent time talking about baby oil.
Just
and when
wasting
I heard
time.
him talking about baby oil, I'm just thinking, what does this have to do with a federal prosecution? Yes, it's salacious, but what does it have to do with 70 Homeland Security agents?
Yeah.
Now look, and I'm
That's
not
not why
saying
they
Cassie
there.
wasn't abused. We know she was abused. We saw the Intercontinental Hotel video, but he wasn't being prosecuted for that. And to say, and I have talked about this from the beginning, to say this dude was a racketeer, he's a bad guy, and I think a criminal. He's committed a lot of crimes along the way. But a racketeer, and again, I will say this one more time, a racketeer is somebody in organized crime. This
Yeah.
was disorganized crime. This was a jealous, crazy, even criminal boyfriend who is so crazed that burglarize Kid Cudi's house, or maybe blow up the car and kidnap somebody and give them a lie detector test. But there's no enterprise. It's not Bad Boy Records. That's not what Bad Boy Records was doing. It was a crazed boyfriend who was doing this. That's not organized crime. And clearly, the jury saw that.
But I don't know how this works, but I feel like they kind of hit him with that because, he basically, it was kind of run like a business. He had people transporting him for things. He had people, he had his bodyguards intimidating people. And if I'm not mistaken, that's part of racketeering and things like that. See, racketeering generally refers to making money through a pattern of illegal activities, often involving organized crime and a variety of criminal acts like extortion, fraud, bribery, and violence. Yeah, it's like I don't think he did the fraud and bribery part, but definitely the violence and definitely extorted some people, and it frequently involves a racket, which is a dishonest or illegal business. He didn't have an illegal or dishonest business, which is the point he's trying to get to. He didn't have any of that, or a pattern of criminal acts designed to generate profit. None of this really generated profit, which I understand what he's trying to get to. So yeah, maybe they shouldn't have hit him with that. But I don't know how that works. I don't know who gives these things out and who charges them with it. Y'all let me know. I'm not necessarily sure exactly how the law works and everything, like the exact laws and how all the orders and steps come in. But yeah, I can see what he's saying. I can see what he's saying. Like, kind of like, why was he charged with that? Because it doesn't really fall in line with what was really going on. So I can understand that.
And they came back unanimously on it. So what do we end up with? We end up with a case that, if it was all within one state, would have been maximum a misdemeanor in the city attorney's office. Just think about that. So now the question, what was really behind this? Maybe the prosecutors really believed in their case, but I question that news conference where, they decided it's not just that we're going to file a case against him, we're going to have a whole big news conference laying out all the evidence, talking about the salacious things like baby oil and Astroglide and whatnot. And then you got to wonder, was their motivation to seek justice, or was this, at least in part, a publicity grab? And I say that because I don't get, A, why they held a news conference, and B, why they're bringing in things like baby oil. I want to say one other thing, that, the jury saw the freak-off videos, and a lot of people thought, oh, that's going to hurt Diddy. I think it's the opposite, because that video doesn't get in the head of Cassie or Jane. They just see them having sex. And, between looking at the video, looking at those text messages saying, when are we going to have the next freak-off? I love these freak-offs. It's possible for sure that there were times when they didn't, but the jury wasn't buying that he coerced them. They just weren't buying it.
Yeah, because you got to think, a lot of people don't understand abusive relationships. Shoot, like, not even I understand it. Like, a lot of people don't understand abusive relationships. You can't really put yourself in the mind of a victim, who's going through an abusive relationship. And so it's kind of hard to put yourself in a place and see things where it's like you're being abused and kind of like forced to do these things. You feel like you're forced, or you're doing it because you you want love from the person, your abuser. Like, it's a lot of things that we don't understand, and they couldn't really see that. They just thinking it's just a boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic, and they're just doing what boyfriend and girlfriends do, and that's unfortunate, man.
Because it's complicated when they're in long relationships with Diddy. So I'm not saying they weren't abused, but the prosecution, to file a case like this, to spend this kind of money, to invest the resources they did, they got to know going in that there's a chance they can prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It seems this jury had no problem finding him not guilty on the main counts. Now, as for what's going to happen to him, whether he's going to get significant prison time, I don't know. I just don't think so. Because ultimately, do you put a guy in prison because he hired a sex worker and flew him on an airplane? Yeah. Do you put him in prison for 10 years? I don't think so.
Unfortunately, even though he is Diddy and, he's evil, you still got to treat him like a normal criminal. You can't treat him like, like he's Diddy. You can't treat him no worse or any better than anybody else who done came through the court system. So you got to give him the normal type of time you would give anybody else, which kind of sucks. Like, like for some people, I feel like, damn, like, they deserve the max timing and, what the worst things possible, because they done did some of the worst things, especially Diddy. But you gotta, when it comes to the law and everything, you gotta treat people fairly. But, you know, is this fair? You know, that's debatable because he's kind of getting away with it, technically. I don't know what he got on. I don't know what he got on somebody, but bro, I really don't know how he's getting away with it. The major charges being dropped, bro. I don't know what he got on somebody. He gotta have something on somebody for it to be getting dropped like this, man. That is ridiculous.
Do you put him in prison for 5 years? I don't think so. Now, you could say, well, we're going to put him in prison because he's just a bad guy. But that's not what
See?
the law says. The law doesn't say you can look at a guy and say, he's just a bad guy, so we're going to throw the book at him. That's
I wish.
wrong. That's wrong. They did that with O.J. Simpson in that kidnapping case in Las Vegas. And even though I covered the O.J. Simpson murder cases, the civil and criminal, and knew he was guilty, the kidnapping case was BS. And yet, the judge threw the book at him as a pound of flesh because he was found not guilty in the murder case. That wasn't fair. That wasn't right. And you can't look at the guy and say, I just dislike him so much that I'm going to do what I might not do if he were a different guy.
I can. I can, man. Put me in there, man. I'll send it some. But nah, though. That's pretty much the end of the video, man. This whole thing just been crazy. That is the verdict and everything. Y'all let me know what y'all think below down in the comments. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know everything about the law. So, you know, I'm down to be corrected, and we could talk about it down below in the comments. I appreciate y'all for even watching and clicking. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about this. And with that being said, it's Major, and I'm gone.